are 9 days away from the finish line of this thing. It's been very exciting, and we are very optimistic as we move forward, going towards the end. And I thought I would just take a moment and talk a little bit about the creation of Summer of Psyche. In the fall of 2011, I was accepted into a program in Paris, a place called Cité Internationale des Arts. I was there for 3 months, and they provided me a studio, and I lived there and worked there and wrote just about every day there. And one of my goals while I was in Paris was to look at as much work about Psyche as I possibly could find throughout Paris, and she would just crop up in places I didn't expect. But when I was actually looking for her, I found 30 works about her at the Louvre. And people have been making art about Psyche for literally millennia. So I had a separate notebook that I kept, and in this notebook I detailed all the 30 pieces, where they were housed at the Louvre, who created them, what year they were created, and so on. And then I would leave space in the notebook for free writing. Then I would go and I would just stand in front of the sculpture, the painting, the tapestry, the platter, and just wait and write and wait to see if something struck me, because there are other artists who've done a lot of deep thinking about Psyche and her story well before me. So one of the days that I went to the Louvre, I went and looked at one of the most famous pieces about Psyche and Eros, and it's a piece by a sculptor named Canova called Cupid and Psyche, and you've probably seen it. It's very famous. In it, Eros' wings are spread, and he's reviving Psyche, and it's a large and very impressive, beautiful sculpture, and there were people all around it photographing it and being photographed next to it and so on. And then directly next to it was another sculpture by the same artist, Canova. It was a little bit later. I think the first one was done in maybe 1780, and the next one next to it was probably 10 to 20 years later. And in the second one, there's Eros shorter than Psyche, which is unusual because Eros is a god and Psyche is a human girl. And he's got his arm draped around her shoulder and his head resting on her other shoulder, and very tender, and she is putting a butterfly into his open hand. And the butterfly is the symbol for the soul, and it's because the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and is reborn as a butterfly. And so that's the symbol of the soul being reborn. And Psyche, the word, actually means soul and butterfly. So she's placing a butterfly into his hand, and I stood and looked at it for a while, and I free wrote, and suddenly it dawned on me that I had been way too over-identified with Psyche emotionally, and that I hadn't accounted for the deep emotional state of Eros. And looking at this sculpture and how clearly, deeply in love this character is with the Psyche character, I thought, oh, I better run right back to my studio and write a piece about that. And so I did. I ran home and I wrote a piece called Love. And that's how the piece Love was born. Anyway, share with everybody. We are so grateful for all the help and support that you've all given us, and we're moving forward. Okay, bye.